10 shocking secrets about Canada's history you never knew. Canada, the land of maple syrup, politeness, and hockey. But what if I told you there are stories in Canadian history that sound too crazy to be true? From Viking settlements to Nazi escape tunnels, and even Canada's secret nuclear weapons program. Get ready for 10 mind-blowing stories from Canada's past that you've never heard before. Let's dive in. Number 1. Canada's almost Viking colony. Everyone knows about Columbus, but Vikings actually landed in Canada 500 years before he was even born. Around the year 1000 AD, Norse explorers from Greenland set up a small settlement in Newfoundland, calling it Vinland. They planned to stay permanently, but things didn't go as expected. The indigenous people, who the Norse called Skraelings, didn't appreciate these strange newcomers. Fights broke out, and the Vikings were forced to retreat. Imagine if they had stayed. Canada could have been a Viking nation. Number 2. Canada invaded the U.S. and won. Most people think the U.S. tried to invade Canada in 1812. But did you know Canada invaded first? In July 1812, British and Canadian troops, along with indigenous warriors, crossed into Michigan. They surrounded Fort Detroit and tricked the Americans into surrendering without even firing a shot. It was one of Canada's most underrated military victories. And yes, we totally invaded the U.S. first. Number 3. The secret Nazi POW escape tunnel. During World War II, Canada housed thousands of Nazi prisoners of war. But what most people don't know is that some of them almost pulled off an escape straight out of a movie. At Camp 30 in Ontario, German POWs dug a 150-foot-long tunnel right under their barracks. They used tin cans, wooden boards, and even created a secret ventilation system. Right before they could break out, Canadian authorities discovered the tunnel. But to this day, some believe there are still undiscovered tunnels beneath the site. In number 4, Canada's Moose Cavalry. During World War I, Canada actually considered training moose for battle. Horses were in short supply, and someone had the bright idea that moose, strong, fast, and cold-resistant, could replace them. But turns out moose are unpredictable. They didn't like gunfire, and instead of being trained, they just kept attacking people. So yeah, Canada's dream of Moose Cavalry didn't last long. Number 5. Canada's secret nuclear weapons program. Canada, peaceful, neutral, polite, right? Not always. In the 1950s, Canada was secretly developing nuclear weapons and even tested nuclear warheads with the U.S. The Avro Arrow, Canada's most advanced fighter jet, was meant to carry nuclear missiles. But in 1959, Prime Minister John Diefenbaker shut the whole thing down. The Avro Arrow was destroyed, and Canada never became a nuclear power. But what if it had? Number 6. The Klondike Gold Rush Pirates. The Klondike Gold Rush wasn't just about gold. It was also full of river pirates. Criminals, including the infamous Soapy Smith, dressed as Mounties and robbed gold miners heading to Dawson City. Eventually, angry prospectors formed a mob and lynched the worst criminals. It was basically Canada's Wild West. Number 7. The Mysterious Mad Trapper. In 1932, a strange man named Albert Johnson took on an entire RCMP in a deadly Arctic manhunt. After refusing to answer questions about illegal trapping, he shot at the RCMP and vanished into the freezing wilderness. For over a month, he evaded capture, climbed mountains, and even outpaced dog sleds. When they finally caught him, they found gold coins and money, but no identification. To this day, nobody knows who he really was. In number 8, Japan's fire balloon attacks on Canada. In World War II, Japan launched 9,000 fire balloons across the Pacific to start wildfires in North America. Around 300 hit Canada, even knocking out power in a secret uranium mine. The government covered it up to prevent panic, but this was one of the first intercontinental attacks in history. Number 9. The 1966 Montreal UFO wave. In 1966, thousands of people in Montreal saw something they couldn't explain. Police officers, airline pilots, and military personnel all reported strange flying objects moving at impossible speeds. The Royal Canadian Air Force never gave a full explanation, Were they secret U.S. aircraft? Or something else? Number 10. The ghost town of Uranium City. Uranium City, Saskatchewan, was once a booming mining town. But when the uranium industry collapsed, residents abandoned it overnight. Today, it's one of Canada's most eerie ghost towns, frozen in time. So, which of these stories blew your mind the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more crazy forgotten history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. See you next time.